Who wants to take the lead on Xeno? Probably Randall, since he's playing it fresh and new, and then we'll...
He's playing it right now. I saw you log in.
I've turned off my Switch.
Hey everybody, welcome to Pursuing Pixels. This is episode number 43, and my name's Kevin Portelli, and I'm here tonight with Randall Nolery.
Hey everybody.
DJ Mandolini.
Yo.
And John Hines.
Yellow.
And Full Force once again. I should stop calling that out because we should just hopefully be full force for a while here.
It's an expectation.
So, yeah.
Everyone's doing their job.
Yeah, we're all playing games.
That's right.
We're getting together. We're talking about it.
Being friends.
That's right.
Trying to come to terms. But anyways.
The terms of service. And the pursuing pixel art.
Oh, but anyways, yeah, we've been playing some, I think Randall and I have both been playing some Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which has in turn got John rekindling his love for Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I guess I don't want to speak for you and just say love without getting into a conversation, but John has definitely put a significant amount of time more into this than we have.
Is 120 hours significant?
Who can really say?
It's only 5 days or so.
Oh God.
Of consistent time. But anyways, I've probably played the first 5 hours or so. I'm like just approaching the first like town, so I feel like the stage has been set. I've kind of like learned the majority of the mechanics, which is something I really appreciate about this game.
It's cute that you think that you've learned.
Okay. Well, I guess like the majority of the basics, I guess. But maybe I'm wrong there as well. But I do appreciate how like even though there is a ton to swallow, they're kind of like throwing a tutorial at you, and they'll even like at the end of the tutorial, a lot of times it'll be like, and also there's this, but I won't throw that at you now. We'll wait till later. And I really like the approach of like the almost like cheekiness of that. Because just when I'm thinking like, holy shit, this is a lot to swallow.
Yeah.
That there is more to this, but it's going to let me grasp these basics before it layers things on top of that, which I really appreciate. But yeah, again, I'm about 5 hours in, but it seems like every time I log onto my Switch to play something else, there's at least one other of my friends playing a video game, and it's Randall playing Xenoblade. He's put about 20 hours in so far.
Yeah.
So, you're not as deep as John, but what are you thinking now that you're deeper in? Are you obviously sucked in, or what's your experience?
I am obviously sucked in. About a week-ish ago, I started Xenoblade Chronicles 2, finally. This is something that I got as like a Christmas present a couple years ago. Like when it came out, I got the special edition version, which I think Kevin also has.
I bought it like day one, I think, or shortly after it came out. I think you might have even been with me, DJ. We were like Target, and I just was like, I need to have this art book, and I don't know why, and I never have played the first one. DJ bought me the 3DS remake. But yeah, it was just like a really cool, like the steelbook artwork is awesome. It's just really cool. Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
And
it's beautiful.
Yeah, the art book is sweet. Just really great. It's a really nice package, but it's especially John has talked to me about this game a little bit, and it's just like, again, I'm not a huge JRPG fan. I've mentioned that on the podcast before. I enjoy them from time to time, but it's just not a genre I go back to again and again.
Right.
So it's another one of those genres I just have to be in the right mood, and it really has to suck me in. But thankfully, the mechanics are like, at least to me, a little more engaging than like a typical turn-based strategy or turn-based RPG. I really like how the combat works.
How's it different? Sorry, I'm completely blind.
It's kind of it's sort of weird. Like you can. Well, one of the things that I like a lot is like when you're in the world that just and John and I talked about this a little bit. You're just kind of like in the wild, like when you land. So like the world itself is really I love like you're kind of like in this cloud sea, like the cloud sea, like anything under the cloud level is just kind of underwater. I guess I haven't seen enough of the story yet.
Yeah, kind of.
But that from what I've seen, it seems underwater.
Yeah.
But you live on these Titans, and you kind of start off on this Titan. I forget his actual name. Your character Rex refers to him as Gramps.
It's Grumps.
And it's keeping that like Scottish accent that has inexplicably been present in the entire, Xenoblade series.
Well, that's where it takes place,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The cloud seas of Scotland. But anyways, there's just like
dinosaur whales that everybody lives on there.
Yeah, and it's really immersive. Like the world itself, it's just I really like the setting. There's like these giant, I think they're called Titans, and they just like walk around. They're like these giant like godlike beasts.
Yeah.
That just like are big enough to be above the cloud level, and people live on them. And when you start off the game, your Rex character, your the Gramps character is like, you basically just have like a little tent and like a little small like shack for yourself, and it's a small little, you live on it, but that's it. And like now I've just kind of arrived on the first like main Titan, and it's like it's a whole world, to explore. And the world feels very alive. You can see like one of the things that a lot of times turns me off with JRPGs are the random battles. There's none of that in this game. The enemies are front and center, or they're not even enemies. They're a lot of them. They just feel like they're wildlife.
Neutral
like, it kind of like I almost feel I feel guilty attacking them sometimes. It's like I want the experience, but like this creature's just minding its own business, and I'm just deciding to kill it, I guess.
You just ran through its space, and it's like, no, screw you, dude.
But it's cool, like John was saying, like there's like some of the like super like the enemies or the wildlife that's just way more advanced than you are, or way more leveled up than you are. It'll just kind of ignore you, like you're just irrelevant to it at this point, Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
But yeah, the combat, it's kind of automatic. Like, so it's a 3D game. You're just in a 3D playing field, and you just kind of like, you kind of initiate combat. Sometimes the enemy will initiate it, or sometimes you will. And then there's like different attacks you have that are mapped to the face buttons that charge over time. But otherwise, you're like auto attacking if you're close enough to the enemy and you draw your blade, and the enemy auto attacks you. And it seems like there's different attacks that are the ones that are mapped to the face buttons that are relevant to like if you're behind the enemy, it does extra damage, or if you're to the side of the enemy, it'll do extra damage. There's kind of like different qualifiers for your different attacks. Those charge up over time, and then the more you use those, you kind of charge up your like signature attack, or I forget what it's actually called, but your blade attack, I guess.
Your arts and stuff. Yeah.
And you can like charge that up to multiple levels. Again, I'm only about 5 hours in, so I'm just kind of getting introduced to these mechanics, but it's definitely, there's a couple things that kind of incorporate some like timing based inputs, like almost like quick time events, not anything significant, just one timing, input. But it has a little bit of that like Paper Mario feel, where it's like not in the same way, but it's just like that engaging sense of combat. I'm always, even though it does have this like turn based or at least timing based sense of rhythm to the combat, I'm always engaged. I'm always like feel like I'm doing something. Which I really appreciate. And there's not all these little interludes that go into like, oh, now I'm in battle mode, now I'm out of battle mode, that just slows down the game. It's just like you keep going all the time. But
I've talked about Diablo 3 on the podcast before, and some of the combat elements kind of remind me of Diablo 3 that way, where you kind of things are frantic, and some of it's kind of like automated to some degree, but you're still making decisions in that battle of where you need to be, if you need to heal, attacking them from a certain angle with a certain attack. Like all that stuff makes a difference, even though it is at its core a JRPG where some of it is just kind of an automated going through the motions battle, but there's just enough spin on it that keeps me engaged, and honestly doesn't make me feel too bad about grinding against creatures over and over again to get more loot, which again, that reinforces the whole Diablo connection for me. In fact,
that's interesting.
Yeah, Tina was watching this too and was like, hey, is this 2-player? I'm like, unfortunately it isn't, because like even if it was just in battles, I think that would be kind of cool to do that. Take over
especially because
creature.
especially because you have multiple, not only party members, but your blades are not only a weapon, but they are actually a character.
Yeah.
in most cases, if you're not familiar with the series, which is kind of confusing. I mean, they're like just layering, and each of those blades can be leveled up in different capacities. Your characters can be leveled up in different capacities. I know we discussed a little bit before we recorded in our little like text thread about like how the menus are a little bit clunky in this game, or I don't even know if clunky is the right word, but there's just so many, and there's so many layers.
There's some menu hell going on there. There's a lot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it's not super intuitive.
No.
But then there's other elements of the game that are very intuitive. Like you can literally just hit ZR at any point in time to just pop up your current objective on the bottom right corner of the map, or not of the map, but of the screen. And there's elements of the UI that are just really clean, like the presentation of this game, all the little like kind of markers above. Like I love the like in the very first like starting zone, you can just tell like these are the characters that are going to actually tell you, like either give you a side quest or give you an item or have something important to say, and then the characters that don't just kind of are there. I don't even think you can trigger a conversation with them. I might be wrong about that.
Yeah, for most of the NPCs are actually just like set dressing. Like you don't really interact with most of the NPCs. Like honestly, the most of the interaction comes in the field when you're like actual enemies. And like, that like you were saying, where, you know, you'll typically like the higher level enemies will ignore you, but like there is a range. It's been a staple in the like Xenoblade series where, you know, only any enemy that is lower level than you will not engage with you. And then like only aggressive enemies, like there are like predators and there are prey enemies, and mostly like it will only be predators that will engage with you, and only if you are in like this target range of like levels around them. Like the predator that is maybe like 60 levels higher than you may not engage you, but it is always just a thing to like keep in mind and always try to avoid.
Yeah, if you're in their walking area, you're probably going to get hit, and you're probably going to die very quickly.
Oh yeah, it is usually like a hit. And like these are very granular level differences. Like when you're starting off, like if you see an enemy that's like level 8 and you're level 6, like that's gonna be a hard battle.
Maybe don't take that battle yet.
Yeah, but like it gets up to the point where like in like the first area, I like believe in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, like there's a level 90 enemy, but like that's a thing that's just like the ecosystem of all these areas. Like every area has all of the enemies that it will always have,
which is so cool.
But like and
it feels alive.
It feels real. Been a staple for all the Xenoblades, like, and it's been a thing that I've really liked, and like I can envision like in both the original Xenoblade and Xenoblade Chronicles X, like I can just like picture the exact like areas where I'm thinking like, I need to get to a higher level so I can engage with that enemy. I just want to know what that one like battle's
what's over
like.
there. Yeah.
So
Did you guys buy the DLC?
I did not.
I've not, no, because was it DLC or was it like a full separate game? Because
it is a full separate game
release.
They actually released it Torna. And so they released it physically. So I'm an idiot and I bought it physically because that's what I do. But it comes with a DLC, like the expansion pass DLC code. That would have been the same content that you would have bought before they released that whole separate like story element, because there's also like expansion content just for the core Xenoblade Chronicles 2 that adds like side quests and stuff. So I went ahead and did that before I even started, because I've kind of talked about in previous episodes where I'm someone that likes to be overpowered. I like to have the access to all that side quest content on the front side. And what's cool is it kind of interweaves that even in the early game. Some of that like expansion DLC stuff is there, and it kind of explicitly calls it out as that, but you can do it. So I've kind of enjoyed that as a way to kind of get a step ahead and maybe be powerful enough to explore areas that I shouldn't have been able to explore that early. So I've been enjoying that quite a bit too, because to me, the story is not as interesting as just the open world exploration. That's always what I've kind of enjoyed in the first Xenoblade Chronicles, which I spent a lot of time on Wii, or like Breath of the Wild, those type of games. I'm a sucker for the open world aspects of the game, even more so than the stories.
Yeah. And I will absolutely admit to the fact that I have skipped more than half of the cutscenes.
They're pretty lengthy, lots of words, maybe not the best written stuff you'll ever see.
No. I've enjoyed. I'm not as far, obviously, as you guys, but I've enjoyed most of it so far. I mean, it's
the further
you
get, the more they just like play in succession. It gets to the point where like I will watch half of a cutscene and I'll just be like, I get it.
I get the point, guys.
The next part.
I get it, guys.
Like, although there was a key moment in my playthrough as I picked it back up again, where like I did skip over a cutscene and then like a whole new character was there. I was like, oh. I guess I should have met you before I started this.
Nice.
But, I was using context clues.
Yeah.
I will say that this, the story in 2 seems to be the least engaged I've been.
Yeah.
I think that maybe X was a little bit more generic, but I think I liked just the like concept of it better.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Xenoblade Chronicles, like the original, I think was the most engaged I've been in with like in the series.
I remember liking that story a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're all kind of separate, right? The stories themselves. I mean, maybe there's some connective tissue in the world and whatnot, but yeah.
Yeah. Especially like there was a lot more. Well, obviously, like X is a mech heavy game, and like the combat system is really built around like, like it controls completely different when you are in a mech, and like the scale of the world is also much bigger. It's like it can be both really small when you're just like walking around normally and like battling like you would in 2 or like 1. But like when you get in the mech, like suddenly you're like 40 feet tall, and like the scale of everything just changes.
Yeah, I actually didn't know there were mechs in X.
It's very good. I think it's a really good game, and I if you have a Wii U,
you can probably get it for cheap at this point. Yeah, we've all got one. I think DJ, have you gotten rid of yours yet?
Not yet.
He's still
not yet.
Maybe thinking about playing some more Shovel Knight, but
can't get any buyers. Surprisingly,
that Wii U might make you some money these days. Actually,
maybe we'll see.
Yeah,
I have 3 already installed games on it. So,
whoa, careful.
Yeah.
Oh, well, another thing that you alluded to was the fact that like you get these blades, which are like both simultaneously your weapon and also your characters.
Yeah.
Which is unique to 2, where like it's increased the cast of characters like exponentially just because
it's massive already, even only 5 hours in.
And you're managing like there are all these different like battle types that each of these blades do, but like there are at some point you unlock the ability to like get these like higher you get some like generic blades that like they all kind of look vaguely similar, but there are the main character blades that you get through the story, and then you get to this point where you can unlock like even more of them as like side characters, and that's where the majority of the side quests happen. So you get to a point where you're have 30 characters or so that you're like switching in and out of, and they all have their own different field abilities. And that was a thing that I started to I remember being really frustrated with when I was like at the end, because like they have to be actively equipped blades.
Yeah, the game doesn't make it easy.
Style.
The game does not make it easy to switch blades out. You have to go deep in the menus to do some of that stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy that there's not just like a quick button that takes you to the blade menu.
Yeah.
And even if it was buried within the menu itself.
I really wish that like once you unlocked one, you just had access to their field abilities at all times. It doesn't make sense that they need to be equipped as well.
Well, like you've talked about that with like how Pokemon has made that improvement over the in recent installments where like Red and Blue, you had to have a Pokemon in your party that knew cut, so you could chop down the little twig that you could obviously just walk past.
Yeah. But I've gotten to the point now where, I've wholly embraced like its flaws and just been like, you know what? Yeah, I'll like climb down from this ledge and like equip everyone that I need to, and I'll go back and advance forward like the 2 steps that I need in order to unlock this next side quest mission.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like It's all like, the runaround you get with a typical JRPG, but it does have just so much character to it.
The presentation is just top notch.
It is. It's really good presentation.
Like visually, the soundtrack is phenomenal. Like it's really like sweeping orchestral stuff that at least it just puts you in the mood. Like again, not always my thing, and I haven't sunk a ton of time in, and I ended up kind of sinking some time over the last week into other games, but like really see myself coming back to this one. I am very engaged by the world that they're building, and the way it's presented.
The world has always been the strong point of all of the Xenoblade series.
I'd agree with
the
that.
maps, the open world aspect of it is just, the exploration has always been so rewarding, and I'm still like going back and finding new secrets, even in places that I've been playing this game forever, and I still keep finding new stuff.
Did
you've not
technically beat the game?
No, that's what I was saying.
Close. Yeah, I would guess I'm maybe like 2/3 of the way through.
Shit.
Jesus Christ.
Have you been like?
You're obviously milking it. For
I was gonna say, are you purposefully like avoiding progressing?
Well, also, I think a thing that has padded out that time for me is there's another mechanic that gets introduced later on in the game, where you can send blades that you don't have currently equipped out on missions.
Ooh.
And because you get to the point where like characters are like, you have dozens of blades. Like I think I probably have around 100 blades.
Oh God!
But like most
dozens,
of them are,
that's more than dozens.
This game,
most of them are generic.
Dozens. Yeah.
Like so, like I have the legendary ones or whatever, the storyline ones. I have those equipped, and then the ones that I don't are just the ones that I just have engaged to have. And you send them out on missions, but those missions occur in real time.
Huh.
So like they have like, oh, this mission takes 40 minutes to complete. So like I would honestly, when I first got it, I'd be like, all right, cool, I'm gonna go cook dinner and leave the game on.
How far into the game does that start happening? Because to be honest, I sometimes
Titans.
Okay, because I don't want to say like lose interest is probably not the right way to put it, but I just sometimes I lose steam on not even huge games like this. Like I'll just play a game and get I've mentioned this before. Like I just get a little flavor. I'm like, oh yeah, this is cool. Okay, what else can I play? Like so I kind of like the idea of like, hey, if I can start this timer, it'll almost like force me to play for 40 more minutes, or you know what I mean? Like just set, and like again, being a game on the Switch, I can just play in bite-sized chunks. Yeah. I don't know why we always say on the Switch. It's not like you can't play games in bite-sized chunks on other systems. I mean, it's
not
nice
as easy though.
Are you kidding?
The Switch boots up.
No, I'm not kidding. Like the ability to pull it out and play it handheld is a huge factor for games like this.
And I would wager that it's slightly quicker than other platforms, at least than I have an Xbox One and a PS4. I don't have the Pro model,
boot up,
but yeah, in terms of like if you have a game, for example, like on standby, like I think for example, I think DJ and John were in the middle of a Wizard of Legend run before we were recording today, and we put it on hold, put the Switch to sleep, went on hold, and like I feel like if you turned your Switch on within honestly 5 seconds, you guys could be playing that run again.
Oh yeah.
Which is pretty impressive. I think that like even the PS4, there's a little bit more, and then you add that, like you mentioned, Randall, the handheld aspect. You can just boot it up in bed or something, or
Although I will undercut my own point and say that in handheld, it doesn't look half as good as it does on the TV in this game.
Oh no, it looks like a Wii game.
It looks like, I don't know what they did with the downscaling and the artifacting, but it looks a little rough in handheld mode. I still play it.
That's a shame. Yeah, that's a shame. I haven't played handheld, but it looks beautiful on the TV.
It does on the TV. It's awesome. Yeah.
But comparing that to Xenoblade Chronicles X, I would play that on the Wii U handheld mode.
Oh, geez. Some nice 480p there.
Much smaller screen, much lower resolution. And the HUD on Xenoblade Chronicles X, like you had to you could delete parts of the HUD because like it would literally just cover the entire screen.
Oh God!
Like it was customizable on like
well,
how
yeah, if you
much
have mechs and stuff, there's probably more going on.
Oh my God, that was I played so much of that game on such a like probably the worst possible way to do it, just because I wanted to play it in bed.
Well, hey, maybe that game will see the light of day on the Switch too. I mean, the Wii U.
I'm just gonna play it on Wii U.
Yeah, you got to get the true experience. Did you have anything more to add on to Xenoblade, Randall? I know you've obviously been putting in the most time recently.
Yeah, I've like the only other nitpick I'll have, and it's a minor one because it kind of cuts both ways, is that this game, we kind of alluded to it, this game does not explain its systems very well to you at all, I would say. But at the same time, it kind of opens up those systems to you earlier than you might expect. So it kind of like you can kind of get into it and start playing around with it before it's even tutorialized some of those things. So you kind of figure it out as you go along, but it's just another piece that's like a little clunky, I would say.
Yeah, I would say you kind of have to have some experience in this genre to feel a little more comfortable with this game, at least. Although I feel like the tutorials are pretty thorough. I don't feel like I'm in the dark 100%, but I know what you mean. Like if you start digging into the menus, you're like, wait, what?
They're like, a lot more just like rote, like reading, and less like showing and doing, which is not the way that I learn the best, if I'm being honest.
It's that's a tough call, because I also hate when a game is just like makes you go through the menu like in a very specific, like walks you through the tutorial where it's like, click on this, and you actually have to go there and click on this, and you can't click on anything else. Like I like to be able to poke around.
Yeah.
So it's a fine line, I think.
I agree.
Or it's a nice balance to strike, or at least speaks to when it's struck well.
Yeah. And in those tutorials, a thing that I really like about this game is that usually, like when it's introducing like a bonus mechanic or a like special meter mechanic, it's like the game, like in the tutorial it'll say normally you'll have to charge it for this, but for this battle it'll be fully charged the entire time.
Yeah, that's
just
true.
So that you get a handle on like what the actual mechanic is. And I was like, that's great.
That is
like,
great.
That's just so convenient for us. Like, okay, I'm not gonna miss a button press and I'm gonna like screw this up. It's like, oh, I can figure out how this works.
Yeah. Like I had a few nitpicks, but I've played 20 hours in the last like week and a half. So like I am hooked on this game, and I'm going to keep playing this game. I really like Xenoblade Chronicles too. And I think it's a really good marriage with the Switch.
I was going to say, do you see this overtaking? I know you're still in the midst of Dragon Quest 11 S, Shades of an Elusive Age, or whatever that game's called.
The definitive edition.
No, I will continue to play that game too, and it's interesting to make comparisons between those two, because I think Dragon Quest 11 is a game where I like the story and the way the story is presented quite a bit more in that game than I do in Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Like Xenoblade Chronicles 2 can get a little like tropey and cliche in some of its dialogue, where I feel like I don't notice that as much in Dragon Quest, but Dragon Quest is 11, and all of the Dragon Quests for that matter, are very traditional RPGs, whereas Xenoblade Chronicles is much more like action, open world-esque. So yeah, no, I'm having a good time.
Nice. Well, we've mostly been leaving DJ out of that conversation, so why don't we get DJ into the mix here? And he has made some significant progress on Baba's U.
Just 40 more levels.
40 more levels and 60 more hours. Maybe not 60 more, but 60 total, which is pretty nuts. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of time spent in this game, like staring at the screen and just trying to figure it out. But that's still a lot of time to put into like a story or not a story, but a campaign based puzzle game.
Yeah, I mean, what's your ballpark of hours so far on this?
60.
It is
60 plus. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, like I'm sure like maybe one or two of those is just like me
leaving the Switch on for a minute.
The most is me being dumb.
No, it's not being
not dumb, because you saw the credits roll.
I did,
which doesn't necessarily mean that you beat the game. And I guess
of the group.
I'm the persistent one.
Let me
sued.
We probably should just start this conversation off by just saying we've got timestamps in the description here where DJ has seen the credits like we mentioned, and he's gotten into late games. We're obviously not going to talk about like solutions to the actual puzzles or anything, even though there is some variety in how you can solve those puzzles. But spoiler warning for if you're, just in case
we reveal anything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we're talking late game Baba is you.
Yeah.
There's going to be some discussion of mechanics.
Yes.
Oh, is there, John? Well, what do you want to get into?
Well, I don't know. Like, God, I don't know. Like
Did you play one of my levels before the recording?
You handed me your Switch and had me play a late game level with no explanation. And,
everything you need is on the screen.
Always, like every level, you are always presented with all the information to solve it. And like, yes, the level that you had presented me with had letters on the screen as like individual tiles. Like normally, like there would be a phrase or a word.
Like Baba is push, or
like that takes up 3 tiles.
Yeah, like Baba's its own tile. Like is
lava is like it can be like up to 3 or 4 letters usually.
Right. But this was an individual letter per tile.
Letter.
Okay.
And
like, oh my God.
That involved you interacting with those letters and combining those letters to create words.
Makes my brain tired.
It was.
That's why I stopped playing.
But there were enough letters on there that like I could see multiple combinations of words, and I was rearranging those letters into those words to see if those were interactable or if they would change. And
will it still light up if you do a...
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, nice.
So that it still does, like, and that was a way that I kept checking was nice. I was like, all right, moot isn't a word that I can use. Or, I can't make Baba is Tom.
Baba is Moto.
Yeah. But, yeah, it was a really fun level, and it was a good solution.
Did you beat the level?
I did beat the level.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I did have to ask DJ at one point if Baba was going to be on the first half of the sentence or not, just so that I could rule some things out.
There's so much variety in this game.
It
like with
is
how
so
you
wild.
can try to come up with solutions. Like I love the simple, like the levels with less, just because they don't give me such anxiety.
Yeah, when some of those levels you were showing me the other day were like you pause the game, like when you pause you can see a list of all the rules. And there's like a dozen, there's like it's like a laundry list, so that gets overwhelming when and most of those rules are rules that a lot of times you can't interact with. They're kind of placed outside of your playable area. Those are set in stone.
I love when there's when the rule set is uninteractable.
Yes.
Like I love the fact that it's like, okay, I can't ruin.
Right.
Like I can't.
That's
suddenly
true.
Baba is nothing, and then I can't play this level.
Yeah. So I know you mentioned a lot of like the variety in the gameplay, and I know when we talked about the game before on the podcast, we even hinted at stuff like where there's like, obviously it doesn't turn into a platformer, but like it starts incorporating gravity. Like what have you seen since then in terms of like different senses of variety? So without giving away again like solutions to like super secrets and stuff like that.
I don't think I discussed this the last time. I think I discovered the concept of loneliness in this one, where let's say lonely, like a lonely Baba would be a Baba who is not sharing a space with any other element.
Oh geez.
So
like
a lot of times like a Baba would be a lonely Baba, but like lonely will be a word, and so it'll be like lonely Baba is you. So if Baba ever goes on a tile or on a space that has something else on it, you're no longer a lonely Baba.
Oh gosh.
So it's an adjective?
Yes, they're adjectives.
You're a good one, DJ.
Well, it makes me mad. I was telling DJ because, like, not only does he beat these games that are like these twitchy, crazy, like, he's like, oh, I beat Silver Surfer on the NES. Right? Oh, I beat Cave Blazers. Oh, I beat Dead Cells in 3 tries.
I love this impression you're doing.
Oh, I beat everything. I'm DJ. But
I'm DJ over here.
But then it's like the Baba Is You, which takes like there's no like we've talked about on the podcast. Like it is a game that somebody who doesn't play video games could play.
Yeah, it's just
as long as you have
puzzles. Yeah,
it's all logic, and still DJ is better than all of us. So it's just like
I'm a math minor.
He's just a better.
I got the logic, baby.
You're it.
A math minor with a philosophy major.
Yeah, right.
Oh God.
Yeah, well, it's coming into good use because man,
whole time in my head.
Damn.
But yeah, it's crazy.
That's crazy impressive that you beat that game, DJ. Seriously.
Well, beat in quotation.
You saw credits.
There seems to be more to this game.
Yeah, which honestly, I wouldn't have known that there were more parts to this game had you not said anything. But
yeah, I had seen a forum that kind of had mentioned like you have to find like there's more levels that you need to find as if like. They're not on the world map.
Yeah. And because I knew that there was more to look for, like I kind of had an idea of where I needed to look for it. And I did. I have located these extra levels and I'm trying to complete them.
Can we spoil this? I'm never going to make it to this point.
I'm same boat, so I'm okay with spoilers. But if John's reluctant,
Johnny. I'm gonna cover my ear. I'm gonna give him earmuffs.
I'm really
you guys give me
what kind of crazy sub menu it's in or whatever.
Okay.
Oh, actually, I can still hear you so much.
Get into the next room,
John.
Baby. Just go to the bathroom.
Step aside, John.
All right.
We've lost John.
All right, John is a clear
John's taking a poop
radius.
All right, so in some levels, the word level is given to you as a tool.
Oh God.
And so in some instances it'll be like you can make it say level is win, and just the fact that you're in the level means you win. So like, that's the basic solution. But
then in some cases too, you're able to like it's almost like you're moving every tile at once, right? I feel like I've seen you do that where it's like level is something and you're like moving the whole
it's like
grid.
Level is you, then you are the level moving everything around.
Yeah,
but
brain, just destroy that brain, Randall. Good for nothing.
So keep that in mind.
Yeah.
In the hub world, I don't know if you've noticed, but in one of the corners, there are blocks that say Baba is you.
Yeah.
And flag is win. Now
I've not noticed that.
Well, in 2 of the levels, there are 10 levels in the hub world that like you don't need to go into a.
They're like on the overworld.
They're on
map,
the overworld. They aren't within a subworld.
Yeah.
In 2 of those, you can turn. In one of them, you can make the phrase "level is Baba," which instantly takes you out of the level, and where the level was, like it'll be Baba is there.
Wow.
And the other one,
we've gone metaphysical.
Yeah. And in the other one, you can make it say level is flag. And so then when you go back to the hub world, there will be a Baba and a flag, and you can move the Baba around to get to that flag. And that gets you into like the glitch world.
So the hub world is a level that you solve to get into the glitch world that has more levels.
Yes.
That's pretty awesome. This
amazing.
game is nuts. Yeah. Like I watched a video about the level design of this game, and John, if you're in the other room, I think you can come back at this point.
Wow.
But this is like a game that.
You didn't hear anything, did you?
Here comes John. But yeah, like he so simply was. I can't remember if it was directly him talking or just reading quotes of it. I can't remember how I consumed this interview. But like just was so simply kind of saying like, oh, you just you just start with a solution and you just build a level out from there. And it's like, no, there's way more. Maybe that's how some of these initial stages started, but man, some of these logic puzzles are legitimately mind-bending.
Yeah, there's some PhD brains on this shit. Like, this is... Yeah.
Or one PA. I think it's all made by one person.
Jesus.
Maybe some of the artwork and music are done by other people, but like the actual game and puzzle design itself is, I think, all done by one person.
Kudos.
It's just completely baffling to me how this is...
a game. Game that exists.
Yeah. Because, like, it's one thing to, like, solve the puzzle, but then to create the puzzle is, like, it's on a whole other level.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh, yeah.
It's some legitimately genius game design, I think.
Oh, absolutely. Wow.
I'm there's a little over 200 levels, so I'm at like 180 right now. So,
Lord, man. Jesus.
I'm closing in. It was just, I'd put it on the back burner for a while because I was just like, I haven't truly beaten this, so I can't delete it. I do like to purge my games from my Switch once I beat them. Yeah. I couldn't get rid of this in good faith, but I was always too intimidated to go back, like never thinking that I'd beat some levels I beat, but like, I'd be in like, I don't know, just eating cereal or whatever, and I'd just be like, oh, what if I did that in this level? It's just like,
that's the best part. So like, you've put 60 hours in on the game, but
how much of this game has been outside of the game?
Right, in your mind,
You're just ruminating.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Dreaming about parts of a sentence.
That's awesome.
Counting those babas as I go to sleep.
Babas is jump.
I think it's definitely worth just reiterating the fact too that like if you're somebody who like plays video games and maybe has a partner or friends that aren't super into games, but like this is definitely a game that is a fun couch co-op experience, even for people who maybe aren't into video games, you know, and a cooperative experience. If you're, I know we've talked about, I like being the one to like solve the puzzle myself a lot of times, but it is fun to do these games together too. So
yeah, because I mean, while still being like, very impressive in terms of the puzzling, it's still so cute.
Oh, it's adorable. Yeah. The squiggle vision is fantastic.
And I think that's like one of the most like, compelling reasons that non-gamers can get into this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like
you're immediately just like, what's going on here? Yeah.
Sheesh.
But
I want to see the percentages of people that have seen credits. It's got to be insanely low. Seriously.
I would like to see that too, yeah.
We're like kind of glossing over this, but that's like a big deal that DJ saw credits in this game. That's like Baba Is You is no fucking joke.
I think I've beaten 10 levels.
It's crazy.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You beat an N level, come on.
I just jumped to the
It's still it's a fantastic game.
Baba is meta.
Yeah.
Well, a couple of weeks ago, we talked about WarGroove, which just had a new free DLC that came out, which I don't think any of us had checked out at that point in time. I think there's like some new co-op campaign. I think there is a full-blown like co-op campaign, and then some new factions and new characters and stuff. But that has sparked John to play. We talked a little bit about how Advance Wars, the series Advance Wars from Nintendo and Intelligent Systems, was kind of a very obvious inspiration for that title. And that got John busting out Advance Wars Dual Strike on his DS, dusting off the old Pikachu DS.
Yep. One of my most played games. I actually just erased my 220-hour file.
Jesus, where do you guys find the time, man?
Hey, I've got IBS, and it was a handheld system.
The perfect combination.
So yeah, DJ, you should probably wash your hands.
Oh no!
But yeah, well, DJ handed me a Baba Is You level. I handed
me up.
I handed him one of the first War Room levels in Advance Wars. And the thing that I really love about Advance Wars is it is kind of an endlessly replayable game.
Yeah.
And the War Room is, at least in Dual Strike, like it's just a map, and like you can play it with whatever character you want, whatever CO, and it's just you fighting against this like however many units are on the screen, however many like COs are deployed, and there are just maps upon maps upon maps, and you can play so much of the game that's not even part of the campaign, like just like playing these, like unlocking like more maps and just paying them and keeping that whole thing going.
Oh yeah.
And I gave DJ what the very first one is, which is a very small, like tiny, like I don't know, maybe 20 by 10 like map, and like gave him the rundown as someone who has never played an Advance Wars game. I was like,
and never played WarGroove either, so he didn't even have that kind of frame of reference.
Just going in blind, and I was trying to give him what the 50-hour tutorial from the original Advance Wars was, where it explains like, hey, this is an infantry
This is
unit.
a tactics game.
You move these units on the grid.
Yeah, and I think
Oh, you did great.
I gave you a decent amount. I saw your scorecard.
Yeah, DJ got a B ranking.
Yeah,
of course.
Which is
the lowest ranking he'll ever get.
Not the usual DJ ranking, but
no S+ here.
Jesus, fucking Christ!
But there's just so many mechanics in Advance Wars that I've fallen in love with all over again. Like, there's no sheen like lost on this, like going back and starting over from the beginning.
Well, some of the go ahead.
No,
I kind of cut you off, but some of the stuff you were talking about beforehand, like with WarGroove, there's a lot of style and like the pixel art and this and that. But like when you were talking about how like the tanks and like your artillery units have like fuel associated with them and ammo associated with them, and you're talking about like different terrains, like water-based units and air-based units, like that had definitely piqued my interest when I was just kind of picturing this as like, WarGroove, it's almost like, I know it's easy to kind of say, oh, it's kind of like an Advance Wars clone, but it's almost taking like, maybe we even said this on the podcast, but like it's taking like, pardon me, taking like Advance Wars and then Fire Emblem like setting, like this fantasy setting, and slapping that onto that. But I don't know, I guess I didn't realize that Advance Wars was just so heavy, like this is like military combat tactics, and I didn't realize it got deeper, seemingly deeper than WarGroove gets in some regards, at least with the ammo and fuel stuff.
Yeah, I think like they have comparable amounts of units, and like in terms of different functionality of units, like there's not that much difference. I think like there's almost a 1-to-1 kind of for a lot of them, but the differences between WarGroove and Advance Wars, like a thing that I brought up was like the way that you capture cities or like bases in WarGroove and Advance Wars is completely different. And like I actually really liked that it wasn't just a 1-to-1 like comparison between the two, because it really did change how I approached like battles in WarGroove. Like I was used to being like, okay, I know it takes 2 turns to capture a city in Advance Wars,
right?
Because they all have 20 health, and a max health infantry unit has like 10 hit points.
Yeah.
But like as soon as like I walked up to the first like city in WarGroove, and I was like, oh, I just captured
Just take it. Yep.
I have it, and like, but it only has like X amount of health,
right?
And it will regenerate that, so it gets stronger over time,
right?
But it's an easy thing that another player can just go in and like recapture it from you,
right?
Like, and like I really appreciated how like WarGroove has just like these little tweaks on stuff, and like
maybe not even improvements per se, but just tweaks,
just make it different.
Yeah,
and I liked that they like WarGroove is a like different game than Advance Wars, and like I'm really glad that it exists in a world where it's been 15 years. Well, I guess no, whatever the last one after,
there was a second game,
Days of Ruin was in January 2008, so it's been a long
12 years,
as John would say, Days of Suin.
Yes, I 100% did refer to this as Days of Suin. But yeah, I'm really grateful that WarGroove exists and has like this, the customization levels, that like it has a community, that people are adding new maps, but like at the end of the day, like I really just love Advance Wars so much. It's one of my favorite series, and I'm really glad that I can go back to like Dual Strike and just pick it back up, and there's no love lost there.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And Dual Strike's such a good entry too, because like a lot of the UI stuff can get pulled into the second screen. Hence the the DS, which is just awesome for a game like that.
It declutters it.
Tactics and stats.
Are you able to have multiple save files on that cartridge? Because
not on the cartridge itself.
Man, I was gonna say, because I would be tempted to borrow that from you.
You can borrow. There are multiple save files for the campaign.
Okay,
so I can just.
I'm a big intelligent systems fan. Like I shouldn't say. I mean, I have not played a ton of Fire Emblem, but I love the Paper Mario stuff.
Yeah.
Although they've kind of weaned in recent years, but some of those are like just high marks of any Mario game.
Oh,
let alone,
absolutely.
RPGs or whatever. But I also love the WarioWare games, which are integral in that as well. And I think I don't know, they have a wide variety. When you think Advance Wars and Fire Emblem, you're like, okay, tactics, that's what they do. But no, I mean, WarioWare's could not be more of a different experience.
Micro party games.
Yeah. So we'll talk WarioWare at some point.
Hell
yeah. God damn, I love those games.
Yeah, we will absolutely talk some WarioWare.
But I don't know. Did you have anything more to add on the Advance Wars Dual Strike, or just in general? Or
let me know, and I'll give. Well, I mean, you'll have to tear me away from it first.
It was something that I think I mentioned too when we talked about WarGroove. Like at the time that I was interested in Advance Wars, it was the price was just a really kind of rare or super expensive DS game for whatever reason. Like even a used copy was like $40-$50 because it was in low print or whatever. But
I mean, based on my one level experience with this game, I could see myself getting slightly addicted.
I could see you into that too, DJ.
Yeah. Especially since you just played like the simplest map with only ground units. You didn't get any airports. You didn't get any naval bases.
Right.
You didn't
there's
get
different types of
comm towers.
Okay. I need to check this out. I really need to check.
Why
this
did they
out.
stop making Advance Wars games? Damn it.
Because
Fire Emblem.
I know.
prints money.
You can have both. You can do both.
I'll have to settle for WarGroove, I guess, in the meantime, which I have added to my wish list. So
I really want to play more online with you guys, even whether it's competitive or co-op. It did delete our game.
I noticed.
I don't know if it was just because we were idle for too long, or because of the new update or something.
We did
flushed it out.
It did disappear
after I downloaded the update. Yeah.
So, but we were taking our sweet time.
Yeah, we hadn't made a move in a few days at least. Randall.
No, that's your fault.
I'm just kidding.
I checked in every day for a while, buddy, and then we were waiting.
I checked in every day too.
No, you didn't.
Hey, come on, me! I played my moves religiously, but
wasn't
regardless, we'll start a new game. But another game that I've been playing, and I have kind of, I guess we can go into. We talked about a couple weeks ago. I accepted DJ's challenge, or I didn't need to accept it. He just faced me with the challenge. I didn't have a choice in the matter. But I started playing some Titanfall 2. John was over. I think we talked a little bit about kind of the opening chapter of the game. I've played 3 more chapters, and I played a couple online battles, and I'm having a really good time. I'm not a big first-person shooter fan, but I really like the sense of momentum and movement. Like we talked about how you can wall run and double jump. And I haven't unlocked it in the campaign yet, but in multiplayer mode, you get like the hook shot. I think DJ mentioned that in the episode. Maybe, I don't know if hook shot, whatever it's called, but you can like kind of chain that, like use that to kind of start your wall run a lot of times. So you're like hit a wall that you wouldn't be anywhere near, and you can just like slingshot or hook grapple over to that, launch yourself right into the wall, and you're just going to auto start wall running, and then you can chain that into a double jump. So like just traversing the map feels great. Like it feels like you're playing a 3D platformer almost, with other than the fact that I'm dying constantly, especially when I play multiplayer, because I'm just getting mowed down. I'm not very good. Although I didn't come in last on my team.
There you go.
Not even in my first game, so I was impressed.
Hey, there you go.
With that. And I will say, maybe I'm just again, I've mentioned having sometimes some internet issues. I had a little bit of a tough time finding some online matches here and there. Just seems kind of confusing the way the menus work to me, but I haven't explored the multiplayer as much. But yeah, I'm just having a lot of fun. Like I'm just playing on regular difficulty, but I'm finding some of the challenges are pretty tough. Like some of like the waves of enemies. Like there was the last segment I got through was like almost like a gauntlet. I wasn't like locked in an area, but I just kind of had to like keep mowing down enemies until they stopped coming,
Forgot about
fend them off. Yeah. And I don't even think I ended up like the end of the segment. I don't even think was like that I killed them all. I think it was like I escaped or something. I can't remember how it worked exactly, but I was like on the edge of my seat during that battle. Like, it's one of those games where you get shot and you lose your health and then it recovers if you're able to get to safety pretty quickly, actually, which is sometimes kind of can be less engaging, but for whatever reason, because of the frantic nature of this game and the fast-paced combat and whatnot, I really was having a good time, and I do see myself actually playing this multiplayer a little bit, especially if I play like with DJ or with Randall. I know John doesn't have a PS4, but I wish we were able to do some split screen because I would love to play with all of us. But it's definitely something I see myself playing more of, not a ton of or anything, but when I need, I've had the itch a couple times, like I got a few minutes to kill or I got a half hour to kill. I could play a couple runs, like almost like it's been filling that Rocket League itch a little bit in my head. Yeah. Rocket League, I personally think is a better game, but it's not even worth comparing, But this is the sense of control is really great. I feel like I'm able to stick my landings, nail my jumps. The wall running takes a little getting used to, but playing today after I had taken a few days off, I was right back into the wall running and it felt great.
And I think the campaign's pretty short too, isn't it, DJ?
It's not too bad. Yeah. I've played 3 chapters. Like you can clearly see the chapters in like a select screen when you're loading, your campaign. And there seems to be 7 chapters in total.
Oh, okay.
So pretty much just, about halfway through the game, I would say.
Yeah, they pretty much just serve to like introduce you to the different Titans and the different abilities you can have. Like, I don't feel like the campaign was anything like.
The story is not super gripping. Yeah. It is kind of like a tutorial with a little extra skin slapped onto it. But it's fun. I'm having a good time playing the campaign for sure. I don't want to diminish that by just writing it off as a tutorial.
Sure.
And it looks great. It just plays super smooth. And again, for a game that was just free on PlayStation Plus, I'm glad that DJ put me up to the challenge.
Yeah, and a game that's been on sale for like $5 on every platform for a while now.
Well, wait, is it? I thought it was only on PlayStation. No, it's on other platforms?
Xbox One, yeah.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. I was unaware.
Ooh.
Unaware.
We could maybe get John in then.
Yeah. We'll try to figure something out maybe in the future to set something up where we can all play some Titanfall. I totally thought that was an exclusive. Shows what I know.
How has the experience being in the Titans been? It seems like you've been speaking mostly as like a pilot.
I would prefer to be the pilot at all times. The Titans don't feel bad. I enjoy they're decently nimble. They obviously slow down your pace a little bit. But I still feel like one of the battles of like where I was in my Titan and fought another Titan, like it was like kind of a boss battle situation. Like that was pretty. I was into it. Like I was kind of in a like, sort of closed in area, but still had a pretty decent range of movement. But I definitely just prefer that, like with the wall running and the way the platforming feels. Like I just always prefer like. I was searching for matches specifically, and maybe that was also part of why I was having a tougher time finding a match. Like, I just want to play PvP, pilots versus pilots. I don't want any of these Titans in the mix. Not that it's bad; it plays great, but it's just I prefer.
You might want to try a Titans versus Titans, like Titans only level, because that could that'd be more of like the tense like boss fightness, except like a team just boss fighting each other essentially.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to playing some more, but I think I have played enough, and I know I said I didn't know what I was going to challenge anybody else, but I've played enough to warrant. I'm going to keep playing more, but I've earned my keep in passing along the challenge, and I'm actually not going to challenge anyone specifically.
Do it.
I'm just gonna throw out the challenge.
Who else will
nebulously
right now?
Nebulously right now. Yeah,
just target
live
somebody.
on the air. I'm not targeting anybody because
someone has to.
I'm targeting myself.
Well, who's gonna throw it to the next person then?
That's a good point. Okay, I'm gonna target Randall, but I want everyone or anyone who is interested or owns this game to also join in, or I am also going to join in as well. But I'm going to throw it to Randall, and we're going to play Minit.
Okay.
It's been sitting on my Switch forever.
Let's go.
And it's one that I just want to play, and it's another one that like I know it's going to be this like kind of bite-sized experience, and I'm like I want to be in the mood where it's almost like maybe that's going to be my night is just playing through this game. Maybe not. I don't know how long it is, so maybe it's like a couple nights, or like a long weekend. Just takes a sec.
Yeah. 60.
But yeah, so it's one that I keep looking at, and I keep saying I want to play that, but I don't want to play it because I don't want to force everyone else to play it. So I'm going to actually force you to play it.
Sounds good.
So that I can force myself to play it.
I've already purchased it, so there's that. So yes.
Clearly my logic is great. This is why I'm good at Baba is You, by the way.
Let's go.
But sweet. I'm excited to play some Minit, and I'm excited to see what it doesn't have to be anytime. It doesn't have to be like next episode we're going to play Minit or anything, but just we'll be talking about Minit in the somewhat near future.
Yeah, I still have 100 hours of Xenoblade to play, so.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, just shoot us a heads up because, we'll hopefully all jump in on that.
Swarm, yeah.
Because this is a game you can pick up, I think full price, it's only $10 and goes on sale all the time for $5. So
nice.
Definitely well worth it. I think it's one of the dudes from Vlambeer is the developer on this one.
Nice.
So definitely excited to check it out. And I think on that note, we can kind of wrap up this episode there.
Sweet.
So until next week, you can catch us at pursuingpixels.com. We're on Instagram and Twitter at pursuingpixels. You can drop us a line, pursuingpixels@gmail.com. And I'm just going to mention it again. We're playing Rocket League. You can find us, Pursuing Pixels. But anyways,
Rocket League, always.
We can call it there, and we'll catch you next week. Have a good night, and take care.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All-Star Weekend is in Chicago. I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's sweet.
Yes, indeed.
Team LeBron's going to crush. I saw the lineups.
Oh my God.
Oh, fuck.
Giannis is like a sweet boy, but he is the worst at fucking picking teams.
Did you guys see that NBA on TNT thing where everybody was like getting all, I was on Twitter earlier and like everybody's getting all mad. They had one of those like, where it's like pick your all-star team where it's like, there's like 5 players that cost 5 points, 4 players that it's broken down, and they have Kevin Durant in the 1 tier.
What the fuck?
And everybody was just like, "What the fuck?"
No,
dude?
Picking like 15 Kevin Durant.
That's literally I saw tweets. I'm taking 15 Durants.
Yeah, right. Durant's at least a 4 out of 5
in the same tier as Westbrook. Fucking shade, dude.
Yeah, that's not even right.
Yeah,
Westbrook shouldn't even be out because they had like Michael Jordan.
Okay. He's okay.
They had non-playing people. They had Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
They had people. They had John Stockton. This was all timers.
Yeah,
you have him on the same tier as Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, that's not
kidding me.
Yeah,
Russell Westbrook is the only reason that OKC doesn't have championships. Like, they would have championships if he wasn't on that team.
I think their general manager is the only reason they don't have championships.
I was going to say injuries, but
he was a ball hog, man. He did not know how to be a point guard.
That fucking team could have kept all 3 of those guys together.
I cannot believe that the Oklahoma City Thunder had James Harden, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and Serge Ibaka.
And Ibaka, yeah.
Like that.
I'm telling you, Russell Westbrook tore that team down.
They couldn't crack LeBron.
Russell Westbrook is why that team never won.
I don't know. Harden didn't show up in the finals that he was in.
No,
Harden
still
he had
hasn't
a bad
shown up
heart.
in the finals his entire career.
That's true.
Like,
but he wasn't as much of the backbone of that OKC.
No, he wasn't.
He wasn't.
He came off the bench.
Yeah,
which is wild.
I know. That's how good that team was.
Yeah.
God.
I place all blame.
Who else started on that team?